So the story goes, there's this rich man, and he is the boss of this very rich Fortune 500 company. And it's the end of the year, and the company's had another great year, and they decided to invite some of the high-ranking managers and some of the local employees at the corporate headquarters to a dinner for the company. And one of the lower-ranking guys, is really curious because every time he walks with the old man, he always crouches down and picks up coins on the ground. And it's a peculiar thought to this guy because this boss is rich. He's a multi-million, 100 millionaire, has yachts, 3 or 4 houses. He's extremely rich. So he always wonders to himself, why does he pick up these coins? So one time he sees his boss doing it, and as nice as he can to hopefully have a good impression on his boss, he asks, "Hey boss, I always notice you pick up coins. Why do you do that?" And the boss looks at him, and he has this very awesome smile, right? Just that smile that can pierce a room. You know people that have that smile. And he says, "I pick up a penny every time I see it because every time I pick up a penny, I say a quick prayer to myself. Every penny has a prayer on it, and it says, 'In God we trust.' Every time I pick up a penny, it's an opportunity to pray to God and to trust in God and to acknowledge that He has full control over our lives." What triggers in your life prompt you to pray? I know a lot of you probably don't know how to pray if you're watching this video, and if you do, maybe not consistent. Even if you are consistent, we all falter, we all fail. Find little ways to pray. Maybe it is a penny. Maybe it's a beautiful day. Or maybe when you wake up in the morning, just waking up and snoozing the alarm prompts you to say a quick prayer. Maybe it's late at night. Maybe it's before a meal. Allow your mind to have these triggers that will encourage you to pray, because that's the way you develop that consistency. So one of my favorite Bible stories talks about 2 houses. There's the one built on sand and the one built on rock. And this parable is just a wonderful parable by Jesus using the context of the times. The house built on sand, the wind comes, the floods came, and the house is just obliterated. However, when the one that is built on rock encounters the same situation, it's firm because its foundation allows it to stay up, to be strong, to be fortified. Not because of the way it looks on the outside, not because of how it was designed, the exterior was designed. It's because of that foundation that you can't see. That's why it survives. But Matt, maybe I want to jump in my faith. I'm on fire. I went on a great retreat, or I've encountered Jesus. I want to love Him now, and I want to do as much as I can. I've had some buddies that have done that, and they come into it with exactly great intentions. I want to have a great faith. I want to develop a prayer life, and I want to do it now. The reason when we build a house, we develop a foundation is because when the floods come, when the winds come, when a tornado comes, I'm from the Midwest, so we have a lot of tornadoes, or maybe if you live by the coast, when a flood comes or a hurricane, how will you encounter that adversity in life? And it's fun because when you do build a house, and if any of you have ever helped your parents or you are parents and you build a house, pouring concrete takes a long time. And it takes a while to dry, and then it takes a while, and you just got to sit there and watch it. That's the same with our prayer life. We have to start small, maybe 5 minutes a day, maybe a quick moment of silence when you wake up or before bed, maybe when you're driving to work. We have to develop this consistency because once we have a foundation, then we can build on it. If we're building on nothing, for instance, you build a tall tower and it goes straight up and it looks great and it's awesome, but you hit the bottom with something that's decently tough, maybe losing a family member, maybe losing a job, encountering hard times at a job, at home, with friends, you won't be able to survive that because you don't have a foundation. You have to build. When you build a pyramid, the bottom is always the strongest. Whereas if you just build a tall tower, it can easily be knocked down as long as you hit it in the right place. The question is, do you have the patience? And we all do, but we have to start small. We have to see where we're at and just make small steps. I'm going to pray 5 minutes a day. I'm going to open the Bible once a week. I'm going to start going to church every week. We have to set foundations. If we don't do that, we will get destroyed when hard things come into our life. So how do you start? Look for those triggers. Look for ways to start a foundation and then keep building on that. Maybe slowly increase your prayer time. Have a little bit of silence in your life. But really, when it comes down to it, prayer is just a conversation. Obviously, there's a bunch of things that work for different people. Reading the Bible, having silence, praying, like the Our Father, prayers that are given to us by Jesus, the Hail Mary, the Rosary. Those are great prayers. But just remember, prayer is a conversation. And it's the same with our lives. If all we do is talk in a conversation, we're not going to have great relationships. We're not going to encounter people where they're at, because people want sometimes someone just to listen. It's the same with God. If we don't listen to God and we just keep talking, we're not going to understand what God wants with our lives, and we're not going to be fully happy. We have to take time to listen. We have to make it a conversation. And sometimes conversations, even if you're with a lost friend, sometimes you gotta start that conversation. You just have to, hey buddy, just send out that first text. How's it going? Right? Start that relationship with a quick, how's it going? How you doing? That's how it starts. But just remember, it's a conversation. One last story. There is a story about this old man, and he's retired and he lives in a nursing home, and he goes and talks to this priest who encourages him to do a conversation with God. And what he did is he pulled up a chair next to him and trying to picture Jesus, right? He couldn't see Jesus, but in that faith and that trust, he pictured Jesus there and would just have a conversation like a friend was sitting there. So his daughter sees him for the last time, and unfortunately he passes away. And his daughter is talking to the priest and says, I hope he died in peace, right? I don't know if his faith was the greatest, but did he suffer? Did he do in pain? And the priest is like, no, right? He had a prayer life. He had a foundation. And the girl said, well, how do you know? Like, he never prayed when I was there. I was just so anxious. And the priest said, I don't know. Like, he said he was, and I trust that he did. And the doctor comes in and says, it's peculiar. We noticed when your dad died that he was doing great, and then he seemed to be talking to someone. And as he stopped talking, he simply closed his eyes, laid his head on the chair, and died in the arms of Jesus.